We are live with some knife sharpening. I think somewhere right in through there should be great once we get our Tech Studios profile set up. So on the plan for tonight, we've got a couple of knives. These are some kitchen knives from a neighbor. I shot a video on a couple of them already, but I need to get these three done tonight, and I figured a little live stream would be a great way to pass the time on a Friday evening. And so here we are. So we're going to use the Tech Studios profile. So we'll get it in position. I'm going to need to adjust you here in just a second. So my neighbor, awesome guy. I love to help him out whenever I can. He always helps me out, and he has a couple of kitchen knives that need some help, and so we're going to get those squared away. And these are actually really nice knives. These are Henckels, and they are just in really sad shape. But let me get this set up here, and we'll get rocking. I apologize for the fan noise in the background. There is nothing I can do about that. It was 9,000 degrees today in Texas, and it's too hot here in the workshop. But I do have some new lighting, so I'd love to, let's adjust over here just a little bit. I got some new lighting, so I'm hoping that this looks nice on video. I don't know yet because we're using it for the first time tonight, and I won't be able to see it because I'm here doing it live. So we're using the Tech Studios profile, and we've got our stones here. We're clamped in position. We've got our lube. We've got our spray. This is some honing oil. Isn't this a cool little container? I forgot that I had this, but it's got the little dimple on the bottom. And you can kind of clicks and it squirts out just the right amount of oil. Pretty cool. Forgot that I had this. I used this years ago, and I think I brought it in and put it on my desk to maybe refill it, and it just got hidden on my bookshelf. And I found it the other day. I'm like, man, that needs to get put back into service. So let's go ahead and jump in here. We're going to go through these live, so we're going to work pretty quickly because I've got three knives to do tonight. This first one here is a little Cuisinart, and it's about 3.5 inches. It's in decent shape. It does have some rust on it, which we're not going to address in this video. Edge is not in bad shape. It is just super dull. So I used to know where the light was. I'm gonna have to figure out where the light is to catch it, but let's get this into the knife sharpener and we can begin. This little one will go quick, and we'll save our time for some of the bigger ones. I do have a big, the 8-inch version of this one is gonna have its own video. But we're going to take care of this one. It is the 6-inch one. And then this big old chef knife, we'll do it next. Yeah, it's 8. Big old chef knife. I don't have the greatest attachment to do the larger knives here. I only have this single clamp, and they do wobble a little bit, but we try to stabilize it, and I haven't had any trouble so far, so we should be good to do that big one. It's not the biggest knife I've had on here, so there's always that. Alright, last time we were doing a different stone, and tonight we're going to use the regular stones that come with the Tech Studios profile. We're going to start off with the coarse. This is 50 microns, and these stones use water, so we're going to do a little spray. Let's think about our angle here. I'm hoping that we're here around a 20. We might want to put a little guide coat here with a Sharpie. Ooh, that blade is rough. Let's see if we can see if we're touching everywhere. Yeah, actually we are touching everywhere. Alright, so this should be no problem. Our throw is off. We want to use all of that stone. I had a different stone on here in my last video, which I have not edited yet. But we actually used some Arkansas oil stones. And they chalk up just fine. Alright, now we're rocking. Okay, so here when we first get started out, we're going to be making sure our angle is correct and removing all of that damage. And it'll take a little while to get where we want it, but ooh, there is a good chunk right there. The rest of this feels pretty good. Well, we are, you know what, I do like the 20 degree on here, and so we're actually just a hair above 20. I think we're going to stay with it, even though it looks like this edge is not consistent. We're not making contact there or there, so we'll just have to bring this into our zone. This is the live knife sharpening version, so you're going to see all of the back and forth here. A lot of times I edit out some of the back and forth junk. Sometimes I wouldn't even turn the camera on until I have this figured out, because it does take a little bit of time, but we'll just show you the whole process here. And the timer's running, so we'll see exactly how long it takes. Okay, let's go ahead and flip. You don't want to go too far before you go to the other side. Ooh, that is junky. You can just feel the... Well, now this side looks like it's making contact all the way through. I do have this in here a little bit, what might look like a little bit crooked, but this edge right here, I want to be parallel with as much of the blade, and this entire blade is curved. And so I'm just shooting that I'm parallel in through here, knowing that I'm going to fall off of my angle here and what turns out to be a little bit here. It's fine. Knife sharpening stones are flat and blades are curved, so it's not a perfect angle all the way across, but it's fine. So I am kind of keeping track of my strokes here. I'm talking, but I don't want to go too far on one side before I flip it. Here in the early stages, maybe as many as 20 or 30 strokes before you flip, and then when you start polishing and you've got all your edges the way you want them, I usually do about 10 and flip, which is a lot of flipping, but that's the desired result. Alright, so there probably won't be very many people watching this live. If you do have a question, just shoot it in here. It'll still, if this is the replay, it'll still send me notification that you asked a question, and I'll try to respond. I do try to respond to basically every question. I'm a little tiny channel. I don't get much in the comments, so it's easy for me to stay in touch and answer your questions if you have any. I do like this light. I don't know how it looks on camera, but we're not far at all. By the time we get our damage cleaned up, we'll be right on. we're getting close. We'll come back. Last night I was sharpening, I mentioned I was sharpening one of the other knives in this collection, and that video will be out middle of next week. So, but it had a big chunk in it, and I spent, gosh, 20 or 30 minutes getting down to chase that damage out. That's one of the worst chunks I've had, but that knife, man, I cut some paper on camera, and man, it was sharp. That edge was perfect because I removed so much material. So I hope you can hear me all right with the fan going. We got audio and video changes tonight. Live stream, new lights, fan blowing in the background. I'm not getting any contact on that part right there. Oh yeah, we are. It's just a little high. Alright, so if you are catching this on the replay, or if you're watching the live, if you wouldn't mind trying us out here and hitting us on the subscribe, it's like nearly 90% of my videos are viewed by non-subscribers, and I did take a fair amount of time off in the last couple of months, just with the I don't want to say any words here, but with the thing that's going on in 2020, I did take some time off. I had a different job that I had to go do, and so I took some time off. I wasn't able to make any videos, but I do try to post a couple times a month, and we have a good time. There's some knife sharpening typically. I do have some new Arkansas stones, so we're going to be doing some more freehand stuff, which I know people like. With some videos of the freehand that have done pretty well. This is the old Tech Studios profile. This thing is 4 or 5 years old, and I use it all the time. It's been running great. It just sits over here on the workbench and collects dust, and then I oil it up and use it all over again. These are the original stones, and I try to keep them nice and flat. But I have been looking at a couple of new stones. Ooh, sorry about that. Bumped you. Let's see if we can get a little better. There we go. So I have been looking at some new stones. But these are the original stones. This is the cheapest machine that they had back at the time, and I really enjoy it. I think this is kind of fun to come out in the garage and sharpen some knives. It's a good stress reliever. I've got a video I'm working on for a little DIY project. It's really hard to film DIY projects. I'm not a pro at this, and so I have a hard time with the DIY projects when you're in a different part of the house or something. So we'll see if anyone likes that video. That'll be out next week or so. I have a lot of respect for those people who make really good DIY videos. Need to get better at that. Well, this side looks really good. The other side does not look so good. I was on the Tech Studios website the other day. These, I think this is the KO2, but it's an early version. Some of the new ones are, I mean, I paid like $400 for this one. Some of the new ones on there are $600 or $700. They do have the new Blitz, which looks pretty good. I mean, this thing worked for me. I don't see a reason why I would try a different one. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe I would try it. But I already have a knife sharpener. I just know that I need another one. I mean, I guess I could do a review. I'm not much of a review channel, but I switched down to a little coarser grit just because this side is not coming in where I want it to. Probably should have started on the coarsest one anyway. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's quite a bit more aggressive. And it's working as well. There's a little. Still a little piece down here on the end that is not quite right. We'll come back and see what it's doing. Okay. I think we're there. I still don't love that right there. It's touching. It's just not as pretty. Okay, let's go back down here. I think we can run through these stones pretty quickly now that we've got our damage done. Make sure you've got notifications turned on when you subscribe, because something like this live stream here wasn't scheduled and I didn't have a chance to put it on. I just decided about half an hour ago that I was gonna try to get caught up. All right, great. Let's move on. All right, looking good. Let's do a couple right here to even us out. Okay, final polishing stone. This is 2000 grit. And it should just be really smooth polishing here. Looking good. Let's dry this off and see what we think here. Hey, all right. Saying hi from Charleston, South Carolina. We're sharpening some knives here in Texas today, my friend. Bet it's hot in Charleston as well. It's been like we don't. I mean, we have humidity in Texas, but I know you guys got humidity too. But the humidity and the heat, man. I don't know, does that come through on camera? Looks like it's not gonna focus for me. This is the official YouTube way to. Oh man, that's nice. The official YouTube sharpness test is complete. All right, let's move along here to. This is that big 8-inch Cuisinart, and we'll go ahead and get it going as well. This is not quite big enough. I wish I had the one with 2 clamps, but we should be all right. Gonna go for parallel here. We're trying to move quickly through these. I hope we have time to do one more. They take maybe 15 or 20 minutes each. But so what's going on in South Carolina? Okay, we're parallel and secure. We got a little bit of damage right there. I bet all of that'll come out. I'm also hoping that we're at the exact same angle. Let's give it a test here. The last one we did it right at 20 degrees. I don't know if you can see on, yeah, you can see on the camera. Right up here, oh, it's just off camera. Right up here is my little indicator that tells me it adjusts whenever this goes up and down. It tells me where we're at on our angle. And we're gonna do a little Sharpie just right here to see that we're making contact. There is another way to do that. This is just the yeah, and we are removing Sharpie all the way across pretty evenly, so that should be good. Let's dig in here. I'll stabilize this side a little bit just because it is a little wobbly, but we also need to make 2 passes to get across this long knife. Don't go too far there. Okay. Whew. Passing time on a Friday night. Same here. You got any knives that need sharpened? So I don't know if you're new to the channel or not, but this is the Tech Studios profile. Most people just call it the TSprof. It's the famous Russian knife sharpener. And it does a really good job, and it's really enjoyable. It's kind of expensive, but so tell me how you sharpen knives. You freehand or you have a machine? I actually was in the market and I was looking at the, I think it's called the Edge, and I was ready to pull the trigger on that thing until I saw this come out, and this is exactly what I... There's also the one where you hold the stones in your hands and the knife's in the middle and you like go like this on the blade. That one's pretty interesting. You have to have 2 of every stone for that one though. So on this course, you'd have to have 2 course stones, one for each hand. So that doesn't really make sense. But that Edge one I liked because You set the knife on that sled, and then you ran the stones across the edge of it on the bottom. That looked like, I think that was a pretty good idea. But this little armature is the way to go. Yeah, the Apex, Edge Pro Apex. That's the one I was liking. So Tech Studios has that new Blitz out. It's seems pretty good. It's like $300 though, which is I think a little bit less than what I paid for this. I don't remember. We had just had a baby, and I ordered this thing like in the middle of the night, and it took like 3 or 4 months to get here, so I don't have any idea how much it cost. But it came in the little green famous box with the Cyrillic Russian text on it. I don't have anything in that box, but it's actually right off camera here on the little shelf. You can see it in the background in a lot of my videos. We've got chunks there. It's almost like it's bringing the chunks out. There's a good one there, right here in the middle, and there's like 3 right here. We're gonna have to put some work in on this course. What is the Ken Onion? What is that one? I've heard of it. I feel like I've seen it. It's just not coming up to me. So do you enjoy sharpening freehand at all? I always felt like I got mixed results freehand. Like pocket knives were fine, but like kitchen knives and different things, I feel like my angle was all over the place, and it's a skill. Obviously, you get better at it, but I was kind of just thinking that there was a more perfecting way to do it, and I guess that's why these little knife sharpening systems exist, because there is a need. All right, we got great contact all the way across here. Not great right down there. There's just a lot of damage there. All right, we got a flip. We'll come back in that one. I was talking to a neighbor who's like, I guess an amateur chef. It's not her occupation, but she had just somehow told me that she got some new knives in, and this was about a year ago, and she was like, I got some new knives in. My old ones they just weren't sharp anymore. And I was like, well, what do you do to keep them sharp? And, ooh, my clamp is loose here. Like, what do you do to keep them sharp? And she's like, oh, I just, use the steel, the tining steel or whatever, the butcher steel. And she had never actually had them sharpened. And it kind of made me realize that, like, a lot of the chefs that, like, are amateur chefs, I don't know what the professionals do. The professionals probably sharpen their own because they use them so much, but a lot of the amateurs, they just, when they're not sharp anymore, it's like that's the end of their life. They don't really know how to sharpen them, and I guess it's not too hard, but they're not going to invest in a knife sharpener. So I guess you buy a $50 Arkansas stone, but they don't do that. I know they don't. She doesn't have an Arkansas stone. She said she sent them back to the factory. They were a brand name knife. She said she sent them back to the factory and they sharpened them. I guess you sharpen them for free once, and then after that, it's like a per knife charge. So I'll probably be sharpening hers at some point. Oh yeah, the confidence of doing it by hand. Yeah, that's a real. I did a video about like mistakes that knife sharpeners make, and having the confidence to jump in. And I don't like the end of this at all. Having the confidence to jump in and just sharpen freehand, I guess people think they're going to ruin something. We're still on the coarse stone here, and I'm not happy with the way that that's coming out. And we're not making great contact down here. Some of that is because I am flexing. But so I guess I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you guys were on here then, but the fan running in the background, is that super distracting? It's hard to check my audio when I'm doing my own live stream here. Well, this side looks great. That is a significant chunk right there. I wish they would have brought me this knife sooner before it was completely destroyed. It's a lot more work to repair them than it is to keep them sharp. In fact, case in point, this is I just grabbed this out of the butcher block before I came out here. This is a super cheap knife that we've used. We got it as a wedding gift, and next week is the anniversary. 17 years, and we can get that worked out right now before next week gets here. And you know, I sharpen this one all the time, and it's had rust on it, and that's why the finish is not great. I got a new polishing wheel. I'm gonna polish that out. But keeping this knife sharp, it's such a cheap knife. But if you sharpen it ever so, you know, frequently and keep them maintained, they last longer. Well, I'm glad you can hear the stone. Maybe your probably sounds a lot like your Apex machine. Thanks for that. See, this side looks fine. But we're going to have to keep going there, though. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the bad one, 7. I was hoping this would be a quick one. Would this 8-inch knife fit on an Apex? I don't even know that it would. Probably be about the same as this. We may have to switch to a more aggressive stone here. Yeah, the bigger they are, the easier it is to mess up. See, this tip flexes down. And so I think it kind of rounds off, but as long as it's making contact at the apex, it shouldn't matter if it falls off of its angle a little bit. I was hoping to get to this Henkel's tonight. These are really nice knives. They're older. I think they are maybe like 15 years old. They're older set, but the steel on the other one that I sharpened is super. Looks like it would really hold an edge well. They're a pretty pricey knife, but not handmade category. This one's a Cuisinart, and it has these hollow handles, which I'm not really a fan of. We had a KitchenAid that was like that I got rid of after probably a year or so. Well, I'm gonna keep going. Yeah. I have another neighbor friend who has a work sharp. I've never used it. But the YouTube channel Wrangler Star has and this is where I actually saw this knife sharpener, was on his channel. He has now moved to a work sharp as his go-to. He was using this for years as a go-to knife sharpener, but I think he thinks that this is a little too fussy. We still have chunks. I'm going to switch stones here just for fun. We're going to go to an Arkansas soft, which is really great on this material. or at least it was on the other one in this knife set. Now it does change our angle a little bit. Come up just a little bit. This one we've been using oil on. I like that I can use different stones on this machine. Yeah, it is super fast, but it does take the pride out. You're right. There's no craftsmanship when you're. I don't know. People think that using even a machine, if you're not freehanding it, then you're not. Then you're taking the pride out of it. I mean, I guess I see the point, but. There is a difference between this and running it through a grinder. This stone just seems to bite on this steel a little bit better than what that coarse was. This is probably a finer stone, technically. There's also that sharpener that Wrangler Star used that has it's like MDF wheel on a bench grinder, and you can use it on axes and kitchen knives and pocket knives, and it's just like an MDF board that's cut into a round and chucked up on a bench grinder. I mean, I kind of want to try it. I don't sharpen any axes. I live in the suburbs. I do have a chainsaw, but it hasn't run in years. And the only axe I have is like a little camp axe that I just sharpen with an angle grinder, because it just doesn't ever get used. Now this is taking way longer than I wanted to. I was hoping to get 3 knives done in an hour, and I am not even done with the second one. We've still got a lot of damage on there. All right. If I had a belt sander, this is one that I would put on the belt sander to get it close and then kind of perfect it by hand here with a stone. I've been looking on Facebook Marketplace and stuff for a belt, a big belt sander, belt grinder. If you need to remove a lot of material, that's the way to go. Boy, this side is just the problem side. I've got 2 bevels going down here. I mean, it's really sharp here in the middle. What a mess. I'm going to come up just a hair on the angle. And see if I can go down towards the tip a little bit more. Probably has a little bit to do with me switching stone thicknesses here in the middle, but there's so much damage that I can still get back on angle. We'll touch it down a little bit. That's better. Better. I'm going to focus down here. Get that where I want it. Ooh. It's a good thing we're not on our final. Probably should have set those sooner. Okay, now we're safe. That's gonna mess up our burr, but we can worry about that later. Hello. How are you?
Sweaty, how are you?
Are you getting a drink? Yeah, this side looks great. It's that other side that's... We've just about got rid of all of our damage too, which is awesome. We're still on the course here, trying to mow through this. I switched to the other side of this stone. Felt like I got a little bit of buildup on this other side, and it is cutting better, so that will help speed it up here. Alright, here's the problem side. Okay, we are making progress here. We've just about got it lit. I guess since I went to this Arkansas, we're gonna have to go back and finish with the fine on our diamond stones. I can just see this little edge getting further and further, getting smaller and smaller. It's eventually, with enough patience, I guess that'd already be done if I was on the work sharp. Getting close, getting close. Normally I have my bottle of whiskey out here, or scotch, or brandy, or whatever we're drinking, but I am in the middle of a mental challenge that is called 75 Hard, and I'm on day 25, and it has nothing to do with drinking specifically. It's a mental challenge, so it's different things you got to do each day to stay on the program. And one of the things that you can't do for 75 days is drink any alcohol, which not much of a drinker really. So that part's not super hard for me. There's a lot of other things that are really hard. But the drinking one's not hard, but it is nice to sharpen a knife and hang out in the garage. It's coming up on midnight in Texas. One of the things I have to do still tonight is I still have to go for a walk. so we may have to call off the knife sharpening for tonight here pretty soon, because I've got a 45-minute walk I still have to do. See, this side looks absolutely great. A little damage right there. This side looks good. Yeah, this Arkansas is cutting very nicely. Definitely sped up here once we switch stones. If I think we can finish here, which I do right now, we're going to go ahead and keep it going. Most all of our damage is done. There's just a little spot down there on the edge. I'm sorry, on the end that needs some more convincing. Well, I can't see how many people are watching. I know there's at least one or two because a couple people have commented, but thanks for hanging out. I think we're going to have to finish this one on our next video. We're so close. We're finally looking good. It's just this side. I can't even see that chunk on the other side. That damage is only on this side. And then this tip down here, I can feel the burr from the other side here. So I know my stone is not on the apex of the knife. So I still have some work to do down here. Just a matter of time. My hands are just disgusting with all this slurry we're building up here. All right. We're going to have to call it there. So thanks for hanging out, and make sure you're subscribed because we'll be finishing this knife up on our next video. It won't be the next one posted. I've got tomorrow. There is a, let's see, what is tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow I'm showing you my new mower that I got. It's a funny story. It's in the video. And then on Sunday there is a drip irrigation video from my garden in the backyard. I'm a Texas Master Gardener, and so I love playing in the garden. There hasn't been much interest in gardening videos. There's a lot of good gardening videos channels that are out there, so I don't know if that's necessarily me or not, but so there's a video on drip irrigation, and then there's a video on the big 8-inch Henkels that's coming out next week. And then there'll be a video finishing this one up, and we got to do this one too. So I don't know if you can see the edge on that. It's just I mean, it's a butter knife. It's a semi-sharp butter knife. So video on that coming out. We were going to try to get to this one tonight on a live. Maybe Saturday night I can go live and do this one. We'll see what's going on, but make sure you're subscribed and you'll get notifications on that. But anyway, Eagle Run 2-3. That's all I got tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.